Alright, boys. I was told
I am here to lead you.
that last game that I casted between a Chaos Lord and a Tyrannid wasn't really good enough, and that you were confused as to what the fuck these guys were doing. So I got you a different pairing of players this time, another pairing that I know is real good. Zevargel playing as the Chaos Lord, as I mentioned in that last game, one of the best Chaos Lord mains rocking it right now, using some sort of Night Lord scheme at the moment, which I'm not really sure about. Zinchi and Chaos Lords aren't that common. I like my Chaos Lords to be nice and red and black for Khorne, or purple and pink for Slanesh. You know, that's what usually is killing you in melee, but there you go. He's up against Destoffel, playing as the Lictor Alpha, rocking a triple Hormigaunt build. So this is cool because it's actually using the same build as we had before as well. We've got that triple Hormigaunt action. This time we're seeing a Spore Mine. I don't think Chief got that last time. Now that could definitely be a mashup dependent thing as well. This is a very good map for Spore Mines. The way that the Spore Mines can abuse line of sight blockers is just awesome for them. Heretics losing to the Hormigaunt, as I suppose you'd expect. Heretics are cheaper. They lose that pretty badly actually. You don't actually want to Doom Blast. You should not Doom Blast in these fights. Heretics perform worst if you Doom Blast in them.
Your forces obey you.
Tyranids attacking.
So we just wait and see how these opening engagements play out. Now obviously we expect the Chaos is going to be on the back foot early on. He only has the CSM to deal with the Spawn Mines, and the Heretics one-on-one can't even beat Hormigauns. While CSM are nice, and they're obviously more expensive than a Hormigaunt squad, they get shut down pretty easily when there's 3 Hormigauns and a Lictor Alpha. And as is usual, the Chaos Lord, in his very slow self, is just getting ignored. No one gives a fuck about him. That's what you gotta do. He's slow, he doesn't do a lot of damage, just ignore him. Okay, we see an Aspiring Champion coming out here, but the Spawn Mines are also being ignored, and that's a little bit more dubious. They're going to do huge chunks to these Heretics. Now, Destoffel keeps them in retreat path to try and wipe the ticks, but the ticks get that Aspiring Champion, so they're not going to be wiped. Might see another detonation here, claim a few more Heretic models. Oh no. Probably is worth it for 3 Heretic models. Maybe. It's not that good. Remember, these Spawn Mines are 125 requisition and 5 power. They're not that cheap, so you don't want to waste them. He did manage to snag a CSM model in that last engagement as well, so puts the Zevargel pretty much on the back foot really, especially given that he has the inferior end of the map control too. And Destoffel's just going to keep the pressure on, now getting a Warrior Brooder squad out. The Heretics here do complete their cap, but they need to be super careful because of the Spawn Mines. Actually going into melee with them, relying on the Aspiring Champion to save the day, but oh my god, they're losing so much health. Wow. Oh my god, he wipes. He did get the upgrade money back, so that was lucky, but that's... yeah, wow. Holy shit. Not great for him. Looks like the Chaos Lord didn't get a whole lot done. Well, he killed 3 Hormigaunt models, so, you know, he does what he does. It's like people argue, you know, how do you kill the Chaos Lord with melee? Well, look at that. Lictor Alpha and Hormigaunt's just forced him off. He only killed 3 Hormigaunt's. Not a big deal. Hormigaunt's are back in the power, harassing even more, just costing Zevargel even more requisition when he has to replace that node. Not ideal. And he's going for the second Aspiring Champion ASAP. I mean, this makes sense. Chaos Heretics, once they do get the Aspiring Champion, become very, very cost-effective melee counters. But without it, they're not really very good at melee countering. Mostly just used to tie up range squads with the Doom Blast and then beat them down. But yeah, double Aspiring Champion, Heretics should be able to fight these guys pretty well. Kind of spreading the damage out when both of them should be focused on the Warriors. A Doom Blast now... oh, he gets the Synaptic Backlash anyway. I was going to say Doom Blast now might get the Backlash. Nice use of Worship, but doesn't quite snag the Lictor Alpha there. But as you can see, 2 Aspiring Champions hold strong. And he's only lost a couple of Heretics. 3 Heretics here, 2 Heretics there. Wow, talk about cost effective. They're 13 requisition each. Killed a Warrior Brood and several Hormigaunt models. That is really good engagement for him. And sure, he had the CSM there, but the Lictor Alpha was also there, so yeah. Sparring Champion Heretics doing a good job here. Now we see another Warrior Brood coming out for Destoffel. I wonder if one of these is going to become a Barb Strangler Warrior Brood. I would expect that. It's a really good counter to pretty much everything on the field here, but obviously the Chaos Lord himself cannot be suppressed, and being a single entity, he will not be taking much damage at all from a Barb Strangler. So the Chaos Lord could end up being a very good option to counter the enemy Barb Strangler if he does go for it. I like the combination of Immolate into the Doom Blast there, so they can't dodge it as easily. And now the Chaos Lord can get his power melee going on onto those warriors, but the rest of the melee masses of the Homodons and the Warrior Brood force off the remainder of Zevargel's army. Now I'm not sure what Zevargel is doing here, if he just wants to go for a quick tier 2 or what. I suppose I do understand it. The tier 2 units for the Tyranids, the tier 2 units for Chaos against Tyranids are really strong. Things like Bloodletters, so you kinda don't want to get the tier 1, tier 1.5 units if you can, so that when you get into tier 2 you have more requisition and less upkeep to spam as many tier 2 units as possible. Because things like Plague Marines plus Bloodletters will just be amazing against Tyranids. And I guess that's what Zevargel wants to do. But it's risky because often it means you're going to lose your power farm, but he hasn't in this case. The Chaos Lord is actually putting in some good work now. Now that he's got that Combi Flamer, he's doing a little bit more DPS when chasing things around, and that ability is actually being used quite well to counter the Hormigons. I like that. Now we also see Destoffel going tier 2 as well, a little bit behind Zevargel. Obviously he's gone for a much heavier tier 1. Does he have Adrenal Gland? He only has one Adrenal Gland, and Adrenal Gland really does have a big impact on how strong the Hormigons are in melee, but it's another 15 power. Stalk has been used here, which reduces the damage of the Chaos Lord and his movement speed, whilst increasing the damage of the Lictor Alpha. Kill the Weak was already used to knock him away, and therefore he retreats quite quickly because he knows that it's quite risky if the Hormigons get into the retreat path. When he doesn't have Kill the Weak, the Chaos Lord is pretty vulnerable to melee because he's so slow. Lictor Alpha being his usual very annoying self, knocking around CSM constantly. Hormigons in a pair there so that they can take on any heretics that are there, and then the double warriors push through the mid. CSM right now only having bolters, which do piercing damage, aren't really a big threat against these warriors. They really need to get a mark to be properly effective. I would imagine that we're going to be seeing the Mark of Zeech, just because there's already quite a lot of melee on the field, and now Zevargel's purchasing Bloodletters, so it'd be nice to just get a nice ranged option to force the enemy to come to you. Now, Bloodletters coming out the base. Bloodletters also spawned here from the Blood Sacrifice Global, doing really good work, killing 2 more Warrior Brood models. Both these Warrior Broods have the Adrenal Gland upgrade, granting them an additional 40% HP bonus damage and bonus melee skill.
Let the slaughter begin.
We've got Bloodletters out for Zev. Combi Bolter putting in some work, chasing off these Hormigons. It's actually got a nice grasp of the map right now. Immolate doing really good damage. I like this Immolate play. Oh, beautiful Kill the Weak as well. CSM need to get out of there though. That's a lot of Hormigons on them. Yeah, they're doing a lot of damage to that CSM squad. Doesn't wipe it out though. Just gets another model. Chaos Lord gives that Hormigon a little slap and takes him out. Bloodletters get some decent XP from killing that tower. Bit of an ambitious tower there by Destoff. I don't really agree with that. Just fed the Bloodletters a shitload of XP for no reason really. What, to get these Rippers out? Like, who cares? The only ranged unit's the CSM. It's not really a big deal. Destoffel only getting 2 generators, obviously getting so many squads out and then bleeding. It's much more requisition heavy than power heavy, and you can see that with his income bar down there. Even though he's only got 2 gens, he's floating power massively at this point. Zevargel is doing what I kind of expected with the light tier 1. He's just spamming tier 2 units now because he has obviously reduced pop from not getting a very big tier 1, so he can afford it. Bloodletters are amazing against Tyranids, especially melee Tyranids, because they obviously can't shoot down the heretics from afar, so they got to run in and melee them, but then that puts you at risk from the Bloodletters. Bloodletters do power melee, so they're very, very strong against the warriors, which are normally so tanky. Now that squad of heretics is getting munched here. Uses the Doom Blast to get out of there, that's decent, but there's just a lot of DPS here, and the Bloodletters just don't really have the sustain. Their maximum HP is not that high. They have really high damage, but not that high HP for a tier 2 squad. Like, compared to the warriors, the HP is really low. They've got to be really careful. Getting quite a lot of special attacks here, but this Bloodletter squad here is actually really struggling. Only 300 HP left, 2 models. Lictor Alpha might get a kill here. Lictor Alpha has gone for the Scything Talons. You've just seen Scythe used there. Now he's using the Toxic Burst, which is going to do damage over time around him, as well as improving the HP regen temporarily of the Lictor Alpha. You can see it shooting up here. Chaos Lord is pretty uncontested though. He was just ignored for that fight. As you should. He's not got a melee weapon yet, so he's not that scary. Now, it will be quite scary once the Blood Maul and the Lightning Claws come out. Either could work. I would like to see the Blood Maul because he's just got such massive blobs to fight. It'd be awesome. Send them flying. Ooh, Bloodletter's going for the teleport. Looks like they should get it here. Should be able to finish off the Lictor. Yeah, finish him off. That's really, really important, that kill, because the Lictor just got all of his upgrades. Scything Talons, Lone Hunter, and the Toxic Cysts. That's a lot of upgrades, man. Now he's down in the field, not being able to do anything. And once again, Destoffel is really low on requisition. But this is a fucking shitload of melee DPS from these Hormagaunts. He needs to be really careful. Just use a blood sacrifice to sending another squad of Bloodletters, and that forces the retreat. But really, these guys need to just get out of here. Only 2 models anyway. Wow, the map control is completely blue. Totally blue. I don't know how Destoffel's even going to come back from this. This is really impressive. He's going to lose his gens, but that's not too big of a deal. He is, yeah, just floating loads of requisition. That Bloodletter squad has to retreat. Oh my... Oh god. That killed the generator so fast. That did huge damage to the Bloodletters as well, though. Honestly, didn't do that much to the Hormagaunts. Wow. I'd really like to see an upgrade for these CSM. We're seeing this again. No upgrade, no mark for the CSM. You've got to get Mark of Tzeentch to be able to kill these warriors and get some synapse going. I'd also like to see the Blood Maul. I suspect that Zevargel is probably wanting to get to tier 3 as soon as possible, but if he is, he needs to replace his power. Because otherwise he might be able to get to tier 3 soon, but he's not going to have any power to be able to build a tier 3 unit. Obviously, Lightning Claw Turbinators in this instance would be amazing, but so would a tank. A tank would be great as well. Especially because you know that the Tyranids have to rely on the Venom Brood for their AV, so you just catapult the Chaos Lord into the Venom Brood every time you see it, and then let the tank bleed everything else loads. Here we go! He knows what he's doing, he's got the Mark of Tzeentch. So now with this Inferno DPS, they do full damage to the Heavy Infantry Warriors. Pretty good damage will be done to them now in ranged. And it's just nice, so you can actually chunk them away from afar without having to risk your CSM. They actually can contribute quite a lot to the engagements. Yeah, you can see how quickly those warriors are dying to the combined fire of the Inferno Bolters and the 8 Bloodletters hitting them. Lictor Alpha goes in there to try and deter the Tzeentch Marines. Fires off his Toxic Cysts, but he sees 8 Bloodletters on his case and he legs it. He doesn't want to part of that. Now, Lictor Alpha's doing a good job here, basically forcing the majority of Zevargel's army to be chasing him here, whilst the Hormagaunts can then just get a camp over on this side. The Hormagaunts at this point, while they're very oppressive early on, they're not really that good anymore, because all of Zevargel's units will beat the Hormagaunts 1v1. Maybe the CSM won't, but they probably will. At least if they can shoot them on approach, they definitely will then, because they've got Eternal War, so that increases both their ranged and their melee damage. Let's see if these Inferno Bolters can get some decent damage on those warriors. Yeah, they can, man. Yeah, they just... Oh, yeah. For such a tanky unit to be just whittling them down like that, it's very, very impactful. It makes such a huge difference. And I could also get the Aspiring Champion. The Aspiring Champion is very, very expensive, but he gets a Plasma Gun, so that has, I think it's 50% extra damage to Heavy Infantry. And he has pretty much the same damage as the Inferno Bolter, so 50% more than a normal Space Marine. It's pretty nuts. He's floating massively, actually. What is going on with his eco? Yeah, 600, 187. Can only get a super unit were he in tier 3, but he's not. Nice backlash there, sending a lot of those Hormagaunts flying. I was a bit worried about this Heretic squad. It was losing health fast, but suddenly the warriors start dying and things change. That Hormagaunt squad not defeated yet. So Destoffel's really on the back foot here. He is going for tier 3 though. I wonder what he'll get in tier 3 if he'll save up for a Swarm Lord. Destoffel's actually really far behind in VPs as well. Damn, I did not realise that. That makes the play of going for a Swarm Lord really risky. Holy shit, great scythe there. Great scythe. Huge amounts of damage. But he needs to get out of there. Look at all this XP he's getting. Wow. Lone Hunter, you see, kicking in. An additional 50% damage that he does. Holy crap. 81 DPS in this weapon as well. Then AoE damage with his Scythe ability and his Toxic Bursts. Pretty decent, that. So yeah, I can't really see Destoffel going for a Swarm Lord. It's just going to take so long and he needs to get the VPs as soon as possible. Plus, he has to expect that Zevargel's going to have some sort of vehicle out soon enough. After all, he's had power for quite a long time now and not really spent anything. He's just spent power on the Bloodletters, which are much more requisition heavy than power, and then only 30 on the Mark of Siege CSM, so you'd expect a tank, and a tank is going to be able to counter a Swarm Lord really easily. Oh, these warriors, yeah, need to be really careful. They do not want to retreat through 8 Hellblades. That is not going to do them very well. So he's trying to secure the retreat path now. Chaos Lord here needs to be really careful. He's been hit by the Lictor Alpha, and the Lictor Alpha has used Stalk. I think the CL's going to die. Oh my god, look at how much damage he's doing with the Lone Hunter. Huge damage, takes out the CL. And the Warriors managed to get out. They only lose a single Warrior Brood model. Pretty good. Maybe this is the start of a comeback from Destoffel. What the hell is Zevargel going to go for? He's got so much money. He could get a tank now. I'd get a tank, man. You're only fighting melee. If he gets the Venom Brood, you just jump 8 Bloodletters onto it. It's going to die pretty quick. Yeah, this melee really can't fight these Bloodletters. Certainly not with Siege Marine support. But the Bloodletters are just running past them, letting them get a lot of DPS on them for no reason. Come on. Oh, but the special attacks are kicking in. Oh dear. Oh, they're going to lose a lot retreating through 8 Bloodletters. Oh my god. Brutal. Well, 7 actually. This one's lost one. Toxic Cyst doing really good DPS here to the Heretics. Level 5 Lictor Alpha. God damn. So scary. What is he buying? He could get anything now, I'm pretty sure. I think the Grey and Clean one's only 180 power. Replace some of your gens, get a Great and Clean one, come on, let's do it. Destoffel, unfortunately, is very low on power. He could get the Menacing Visage. That would instantly force one of these Bloodletters off, that would be pretty helpful for him. It's 50 power though, and that's going to delay the Carnifexes so much that he probably doesn't want to do it. Man, he is really spamming the shit out of Stalk, he's using that all the time. You can tell because of that little gold circle buff underneath him, and then it gives a red debuff circle to the CL as well. Would be a good opportunity for a Let the Galaxy Burn here. Doesn't look like he's going to do it. I'm a bit disappointed that there's no Blood Maul. That would have been really nice. I've only really seen him use the Let the Galaxy Burn once. Destoffel's doing a good job here, just splitting up his units and trying to distract Zevargel. He obviously knows he can't take the big fights, so he's just splitting them up and pulling him apart whilst the others cap. This one Hormagaunt squad has forced the reaction of 1 Heretic and 2 Bloodletters. That's just huge. Yeah, a decent amount of damage there on the Hormagaunts from the Galaxy Burn. Not amazing though. They're obviously in melee synapse, so they've got a lot more health, so it's not as effective. And then the little taps from that pathetic sword from Chaos Lord. Not really doing too much. It's going to be a great unclean one for Zevargel versus a Carnifex for Destoffel. Be interested to see what Carnifex he goes for. If he sticks with a melee theme, goes for a melee Carnifex, or if he opts for the Venom Cannon instead to try and shoot down the Great and Clean one from afar. Now, obviously the Venom Cannon will hit the Great and Clean one with perfect accuracy, but the problem is the Venom Cannon is designed to kill vehicles because it ignores their armor, but vehicles have a lot less HP than the Great and Clean one because the Great and Clean one has super heavy infantry armor, not vehicle armor. So the Venom Cannon Carnifex is going to take a damn long time to kill the Great and Clean one. In true Nurgly fashion, the Great Unclean one is extremely tanky, the most tanky unit in the entirety of Dawn of War 2. 6,125 HP of super heavy infantry armor. Able to regenerate 10 HP per second when under worship, so he can regen on the field, and he also regenerates 1 HP per second at least, naturally. I'm not sure, it might even be more. At least 1 HP per second. Gonna see a vomit coming out. It doesn't quite hit the Homogaunt squad perfectly, but it does get some decent damage on them. We're gonna see a stomp. Yep. I forget the name of that ability, to be honest. And then we see a foul snare for the Lictor Alpha. Everything has Nurgly juices surrounding it right now, but this Bloodletter squad is actually taking a huge amount of damage. Special attack. Decent damage against the Homogaunt. It's not huge though. Terminator's getting called in as well. Wow, this looks really rough for Destoffel, man. This is a lot of elite chaos shit. Not ideal. And the Great and Clean one passively hurts anything that is nearby to it. Where are these Rippers, Homogaunts? They're just passively losing health from being near the Great and Clean one. Then you add in the flames as well from the Let the Galaxy Burn and the Immolate. Not ideal. Oh, Chaos Lord putting in some big work now. Another vomit comes out. Actually kills a Warrior Brood model even though it's in retreat. That's going to do 10% of the HP of the Carnifex gone. Consumes a Heretic. Gives him some energy back for these abilities. He's getting regen from the Worship and his natural regen. But Carnifexes get regen as well just from being in combat. And then the Formback Carnifex gets even more regen in combat. It's a very tanky boy. The Formback won't get smashed by the Great and Clean one in melee. They actually will take forever to kill one another. I think the Great and Clean one will come out on top just due to having such a bigger health pool. But it's not going to be a total pushover. The Carnifex will hold its own. And obviously the surrounding melee will do far more to a Great and Clean one than it can to the Carnifex, because melee hurts super heavy infantry quite a lot, whereas it doesn't really hurt vehicle armor unless it's heavy melee. Nobody has any heavy melee. Well, technically, these guys' Power Fists are heavy melee, but they do not want to be getting into melee right now. Not whilst they're in their ranged formation. Only if they get Lightning Claws, which I don't think... Nah, Zev should be able to afford it now. I guess he probably wants to prioritize getting a bit more AV. He doesn't have any AV right now. His only AV is this Great and Clean one. That's not great. Ooh, nice vomit there, doing huge amounts of damage to the Homogaunts. But the thing is, he's going to have Endless Swarm anyway, so he can reinforce them for 2 for 1, so it's not really a big deal. Like, even though that looks cool and he did a lot of damage, that's only like 16, 16, 16, so it's what? 48 requisition. It's not huge, you know? Nice foul snare from the Great and Clean one, pulls in that Lictor Alpha, puts him in a real vulnerable position, and he has to get out of there. Worship is keeping this Great and Clean one on the field, but he's not got anywhere near full health. He's only a little bit above 50%, whereas the Formback Carnifex has got back to full. The other problem here is that the Carnifex, as this shit goes on, is only going to get tankier and tankier, whereas the Great and Clean one can't level up. So it's a problem. Vomit there, misses. Needs to be focusing on the Adrenal Gland Warriors with the Bloodletters. Oh, okay, here we go. Lightning Claw Terminators. These warriors are in a world of hurt. And as these guys get popped, it's going to do a decent amount to the Carnifex. None of them get popped. Okay. Now, obviously, Lightning Claw Terminator is the power melee, so again, they just don't do that much to the vehicle armor of the Carnifex. He needs another form of AV. That's the problem, he doesn't have any AV at the moment. He's trying to kill the Carnifex with anti-heavy infantry, and it obviously does decent damage to it. You know, this is an insane quantity of DPS right now. None of this is anti-vehicle, but Bloodletters are known for doing good damage. These guys obviously do shitloads of damage, and then you've got a Great and Clean One weighing in as well. Oh, that was pretty unlucky with a foul snare. He was in the middle of an attack animation, so he didn't actually get pulled in. He uses his scythe and then moves away. What the fuck was that? He tried vomiting on the Lictor Alpha. Not really sure about that. Melee Blob down there has got the VP, so he's not in a terrible situation here, Destoff. He's holding on. I think he's going to go for another Carnifex. Well, he is going for another Carnifex. I think he's going to go for another melee Carnifex. At least that's what I would right now. And I'd consider swapping my Lictor Alpha to the Leap if my opponent goes for Havocs to try and counter the Carnifexes. Honestly, at this point, I'm not sure you need two Bloodletters. Well, you could either sack a Bloodletter or sack the Zinch Marines. Because the Zinch Marines aren't really doing anything either. Deathstop's doing a very good job splitting up all of his units. And it's making the Zinch Marines quite ineffective. He needs the pop now to get a tank, which I assume he can't. No, he can't. That's the problem. He needs to get a Zinch Predator would be just perfect for him right now. Just drive along here when the Carnifex is isolated, under Corn Worship, moving at the speed of light, taking out big chunks from these Carnifex. We're actually going to see a Barb Strangler Carnifex. Interesting choice. Now that actually does pretty good damage to the Great and Clean One as well. It has a modifier to do bonus damage against super heavy infantry armor, so it also will hurt the Terminators quite a lot. But at the end of the day, it is designed more for killing masses of infantry since it's an AoE weapon, so it's really not that good. It's not ideal. Plus, Bloodletters, Terminators, and the Guro, none of them even get suppressed, which is one of the big advantages of that Barb Strangler. Mobile suppression was such a big thing. Terminator's really not doing that good, to be honest. I'm not sure they were a great choice. Really should have got a Predator, I think. If he had a Predator right now, he'd just be in such a great position. Without the Carnifex, this army is just not doing anything. Guo honestly should consider just going home and fully healing at this point. Just doesn't need to be out on the field. It's not really achieving much. I think the Terminators should be perfectly fine here with the Zinch Marine supporting them. Those warriors are going to get killed pretty quick. Oh, wow. With that Nurgle Stomp too, that's pretty brutal. Oh, the Great and Clean One finishes him off. Oh, fucking hell, the backlash plus the Nurgle shit. Oh, ends up wiping out the Hormigón squad. Not ideal. That's a problem because Destoff is so far behind in VPs. Finally, we see the Blood Maul coming out. But even with a Blood Maul and being level 5, the Chaos Lord can't beat these melee squads. This is what I mean, man. Like, Chaos Lord's a bit of a fucking pushover, and he's a bit of a pushover. Like, he's a tanky boy, but he just doesn't do that much damage. Great and Clean One should not be meleeing the Thornback Carnifex, which has the melee resist. He should go after the ranged one that doesn't have the melee resist. But yeah, at this point, the Great and Clean One should just go back to base. There's no reason for him to be out here. The healing is nice, but it's only 10 HP per second, and he's got 6,100 HP. It's going to take you forever. Just go back to base, heal up properly, get a tank. Obviously, the problem for Zev here is he's pop capped, but he really should just sack one of his infantry squads. They're not that good. Just sack a Bloodletter or sack a Zinch Marine. It doesn't matter. You don't need them. Get a bloody Zinch Predator and force off these Carnifexes. Just charge the Barb Strangler one so it can't shoot, and then your Zinch Predator can abuse the melee Carnifexes as much as it wants, because obviously they're never going to catch the Zinch Predator. Tanks are too quick. There's no snare on the field. You'd have to buy another squad of Barb Strangler warriors, and you can just keep driving away from them anyway. Plus, you've got a load of Bloodletters to just kill them instantly. I'd just sack the Zinch Marines, not gonna lie. Bloodletters at this point probably are quite leveled. Yeah, they're both level 3. Level 4 Zinch Marines, but as I say, he just doesn't need the ranged troops right now. It's not like Destoff is blobbing up and you need something to force him to commit to a fight. He's just splitting up and capping the map all over the place. Oh, big chunk of damage from those bloodletters. Big damage. Terminators of all things going for the cap. I don't like that. They should be in the fight. Now the Heretic squad has got wiped and these bloodletters are in melee with a form back can't effect. I don't know why. He chooses first thing to do, replaces his Heretics. I mean, I get it, obviously, he wants to support the bloodletters and Guo, but it's just not... Yeah, man. It ain't good. Oh, the Rippers are slowing down the Great and Clean one. He's gonna stomp them away. Hormagaunts are jumping on his ass too. Oh fuck, now there's warriors too. The toxic Nurgle shit's just killing everything. It's killed all the Rippers and the Hormagaunts. Great and Clean one's not even doing anything, just being near him kills you. Siege Marine's coming back out. Come on, Zev, you've got to understand that clearly a Siege Pred would be awesome here. I don't know why he's not sacking his units. I get it, it's frustrating, you've got really leveled up units, but come on, you need a Siege Pred now. It would counter everything that's on offer from Destoff. Yeah, I expect these warriors to be dropping models soon. Nope, he's focusing on the Horms. The Horms are going to get wrecked. Yeah. Warriors are routed and Zevargel has a 2 cap. But a 3rd Carnifex is coming on the way now. Holy shit. Carnifex is getting into melee with the Zinch Marines. Not where you want to be. If he procs a special now, that's going to be brutal. That is so much power melee damage though. I don't think he can proc a special anyway because he's only level 1. Whereas the Bloodletters are all level 3. I guess he could proc one on the Terminators maybe? I'm not sure what their melee special attack is. Melee skill, that's the word. Holy shit. Oh, he's run out of VPs. Ah, there you go. Ah, the Chaos Lord managed to get the decap over here before Destoff could do anything about it. That was quite the game. Turned out Zevargel didn't even need to go for the Zinch Pred in the end. Just managed to close it out on VPs with all this. And he was killing form back Carnifexes with his power melee. Goes to show you the power of Chaos power melee. Now, that was a really interesting game because typically to survive the Tyrannid tier 1, you need to get a really heavy tier 1 yourself, usually about 200 power. And that would obviously mean going for a tier 1.5 squad, sometimes getting multiple tier 1.5 squads. But Zevargel didn't do that in this game. He recognised that his most powerful units are his tier 2 units. The units that can pop warriors and tyrant guards with ease, and have such high DPS that with levels they can even counter form back Carnifexes. Kind of. And so he went for a fast tier 1, straight into tier 2, and then got double Bloodletters, and that carried him through the game. Now we did see that early on, prior to getting levels, the Bloodletters were actually not faring that well against the spam of Hormagaunts, but the problem is that Hormagaunts just don't scale that great. You can get that upgrade in tier 2 without number, or Endless Swarm, I always get them mixed up. But the one that gives them 10% more HP, 10% more damage, and reinforced for 2 for 1, but 10% more HP in tier 2, it's nice, it's economic, but it's not going to make them stand up as things start progressing. The Hormagaunts eventually get wiped and suddenly you're left with this situation where Destoff only can really rely on Carnifexes and his Hormagaunts themselves can't stand up against Bloodletters. He just got too far ahead economically, did Zev, and I guess Destoff didn't punish him enough for the tier 1. I would have liked to have seen more ranged troops, but I know Destoff loves his full melee builds. It's just really difficult to go full melee against Chaos, especially the Chaos Lord with his Bloodletters in tier 2. Now, that's the thing, I say the Chaos Lord is weak against melee, in tier 1 he's weak against melee. Then he gets Let the Galaxy Burn, which is a good anti-melee tool, he gets Blood Maul and he gets Bloodlust. I don't even think we've seen Bloodlust used. If Bloodlust was used in any of these major fights, oh man. Oh. You stay in sustained combat in melee with Bloodletters when they're under Bloodlust, you're dying. Fuck your vehicle armor, you're gonna die. So he could have used that to counter the Carnifexes as well. Yeah, I think economically, Destoff, there wasn't really going to be anything that he could do in this situation. He was just so far behind. And as I say, These Zinch Marines were doing pretty shit in the late game. Just sack them off and get a Zinch pred, and these Carnifexes are easily dealt with as well. It's real tough. If you're behind in tech as Nids, you're doing something wrong, and you're gonna lose. That's just how it goes in Dawn of War 2. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope this one was a little bit more enjoyable. I know it's fun to see some Great Unclean won in a 1v1. And it didn't die. Big up the Great Unclean one. Big up Papa Nurgle. Top it out.